Well, hi, folks. Bill O'Leary here in this video, and I'm going to talk about what a living trust is, a living trust. So I'm going to answer three questions, hopefully, for you in this video. One, what a living trust is. Two, what a living trust does. And three, how a living trust can make things smooth and easy for your loved ones. So just again, by way of quick introduction. So I'm an estate planning, elder law, and probate attorney with Legacy Planning Law Group in Jacksonville, Florida. So what is a living trust? It's a tool that is used all the time to accomplish two very important objectives. Number one, to make things smooth and easy for your loved ones after you pass away. And two, to be able to protect the kids' inheritance, maybe from themselves because they are too young, they're minors, or maybe they are irresponsible with money, addictions, and so forth. But even if they're not, let's say they are adults and they're responsible protecting the kids' inheritance from the possibility they get divorced or get into a liability situation like a car accident, okay? So that are two, again, common objectives for a living trust. So how does a living trust work? Well, I'd like to do something a little different in this video. I'm going to actually give you a visual and walk you through a visual of what a trust is. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I think you might find this helpful. So you see there's a white screen up here. And so what is a trust? So the simplest visualization I've been able to come up with as to what a trust is that it's a box. You see a box has just popped up on the screen. So when you have a trust, think of it as having a box. Or when you put a trust together, think in your mind, I'm building a box. And as part of building that box, it allows you to answer four questions that are very important and personal to you. Number one, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner, you're able to decide who gets your stuff, number one. Number two, you're able to decide what they get. Three, when they get it. And four, very importantly, how they get it. Who, what, when, and how. But very important that with a trust, you take charge to answer those questions the way that you want down on paper, because if you don't, guess who answers those questions for your loved ones? The state, the government, and it may very well not be the plan that you want. So who, what, when, and how. Now, I'm going to give a name to this box. I'm going to call it a legacy trust. You see, that's the trust we have at my firm, Legacy Planning Law Group. But I have to tell you that the word legacy in there, it's more than just a name we give the legal instrument, because I honestly believe it's a way for you to pass on a legacy to your loved ones. Now, this example I'm going to give you, this visual, was for a married couple. And what we will typically do is one trust for both. You see the word joint popped up, a joint legacy trust, so one shared box, very similar look and feel to how they have things set up now. Now, the married couple would both wear two hats while they're living. Number one, you see they're both the trustees of the trust. They're in complete control. They're in charge. It's important to know that with a legacy trust, they don't give up any control, because it is a kind of trust that is known as a revocable trust. You see that pop up? Revocable means they could cancel it and undo it, which by definition means that you don't give up any control, because any trust that you do, you could cancel it the next day. But of course, you can do something short of canceling it. You can maybe change it as you go along, which happens from time to time. So it's a very flexible sort of estate planning solution. I like to call it the slab or foundation to the house. Let's get the foundation in place, and then maybe over here we can add a half bath or an extra bedroom, whatever it might be. So this is the first hat that's worn. They're the trustees of the trust. The second hat that they wear while they're living is they're the beneficiaries of the trust. So you see there's a water faucet coming off to them. Instead of water coming to them, it's money, dollar bills, as sort of the benefits that flow to the married couple as the beneficiaries. Now, let me drill down. What does that really mean or look like as the beneficiaries of the trust? A very important step in the process of putting a trust together is putting your assets into the trust, basically putting your stuff into the box. So assets we can put into a trust, a house. So the house, the day before the trust is put together, it has a roof and locks and air conditioning, a front door. Well, after the house is put in the trust, it has the same roof, locks, front door, etc. It's the exact same house. Other assets that we routinely put into a trust, bank account, investment account, that sort of thing. So, the bank account as another example. Before the trust is done, The couple has an account, they can take money out anytime that they want. Well, once that account is put into the trust, they still have complete unrestricted access to the money. They can put money in just like they could before, take money out. So at that point, they become the beneficiary of that account, that trust asset. I'm going to circle these assets because it's a very important step in the process, a critical step in the process of putting a trust together. It's what we call asset alignment. And I circle them because unfortunately, this often is not done, because in all candor, a lot of lawyers that will put a trust together for somebody will do it, for the most part, a capable job on the legal trust, but their work stops at that point, and they don't, as I humbly see it, finish the job, and they don't help a client get the assets into the trust. Why? I don't know. And so that's something we really stress, to make sure that we finish the job, the job is done right to get the assets in the trust. Asset alignment. Now, let's fast forward in this scenario. What happens when the first spouse passes away? And the answer is nothing. We now have gone down to one trustee, not two, and one beneficiary, but it otherwise stays there in the same form for the benefit of the surviving spouse. And you know what he or she can do with it if they want to? Is they can change it. And that's typically how we will set up a joint trust. Not always, but more often than not, that's how we set it up, to give the surviving spouse the most flexibility possible. Okay. So basically nothing happens at the first death. Now, fast forward again to the second death. What happens? Well, now both are gone, no more trustee or beneficiary. Who do we have left? We have what are called the remainder beneficiaries, maybe the kids. Those who will receive what's remaining in the trust at the second death in this situation for a couple. And so the question is, when the assets come out of the trust, are they going to get stuck in this probate court, this mess that takes a long time and it's very expensive, and we really try to avoid as much as we can? And the good news is no, it will not be stuck in the probate court. So we're going to achieve that smooth and easy. One other point on this. Up till now, we've talked about 3 of these 4 questions. Who gets your stuff? The kids, what they get, the assets that are aligned correctly with the right help. When would be at the second death in this situation with a couple. Now the how question, to me, it is as important as the first 3. So there are 2 ways that somebody can receive an inheritance. 1, just an outright inheritance, just at some point they get a check and off they go. 2 is to build a lockbox for them to protect it, maybe from themselves because they're irresponsible, maybe they're minors, they're kids, or maybe for those situations for a responsible adult child in the event they get divorced and the parents want to keep that money in the family bloodline. How do we do that? Again, by building for them a lockbox. You see what just popped up in the lower right-hand corner. It's a lockbox. That lockbox is a trust. It's a trust that's inside of a trust, and it may be located in a certain portion of the big trust, Article 9, Article 10, Article 11, wherever it might end up being. And it is a way to protect the inheritance. And one way to think of that lockbox or that little trust is, once the big trust is put together and it's executed, so it's legally in place, think of that little trust, that lockbox, is going to sleep. And it's going to sleep and sleep until when? Well, when the second spouse passes away, then it wakes up and it kicks in, and it's administered the way that you have laid out with the specifics that you would talk through with the attorney. And so just to finish off this diagram, we have a faucet coming out to the remainder beneficiaries, and instead of water, it is dollar bills. Okay, so I don't have time to go into much more detail about this lockbox. There are sort of different ways we can go about this. And for the responsible adult child, there are ways that we can put them in control of their own lockbox by making them the trustee of their own trust. So they have a lot more control over that. And so if interested, I'd love to talk to you about that. So that is a visual of the trust. And we've got a trustee that's in charge. So that I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen. I thought just to do something a little different here. To give you a visual of what a trust is and what a trust does. And so if you'd like to know just a little bit more about what a living trust is, And if you want to find out, hey, if we can help you with that, we'd love to talk to you. So go ahead and schedule a free 15-minute discovery phone call by clicking on the link in this video or going to our website and find the booking button for the discovery call. And just pick the day and time that works for you. I ask that you like and share. If you've enjoyed this video, like and share with your friends, and do subscribe if you haven't already to our YouTube channel. So this is Bill O'Leary signing off for now. Go make it a great day and a better world.